Well, Happy New Year to everyone who is tuning in tonight to Metaverse News Network. We have myself, Shauna Lee Lang, calling from the San Francisco area tonight. Richard Morant, my co host on the far left, is calling out of Oklahoma. And our esteemed guest for the evening, Zach Bertram with Crypto Fight Club, is in Bangkok. So we are doing an amazing worldwide tour tonight. And we just want to start with really our program tonight is getting the new year off to a fantastic um, overview of lots of different kinds of programs that are being developed, especially in January. Richard and I thought it would be cool to look at the esports arena in special because that seems to be an arena that really has accelerated quite a bit. And so I spoke to Zach and his counterpart, Ashton Wolfe, who unfortunately can't be with us this evening. He's not feeling well, but is on the mend, about their project, Crypto Fight Club, back about 2 months or so ago. And at that time, the two gentlemen were really so super excited and pumped about their fight club. And I can't wait to hear more about it tonight. So, Zach, tell us first what brings a young, enterprising, educated, brilliant, bright, enterprising person such as yourself to Bangkok? How did that happen?
Yeah. So I was in Australia. Oh, sorry. I'll rewind a little bit. Grew up in Australia, moved over to America, studied over in America, didn't really know what I wanted to do. Ended up coming back to Australia. I then started a business just as a personal trainer, doing that stuff. Health and fitness was always really big. So started a health and fitness business. So that was my first endeavor into entrepreneurship and business and all that jazz. Was doing that. I really enjoyed the educating side of things, but I didn't feel fulfilled. So then, I'm skipping some steps here. But then moved over to Thailand and started doing the teaching thing. I had an opportunity. A friend had a school teaching here. So I went on board and started doing teaching, just a fun education thing. So yeah, that's how I ended up in Bangkok. I wanted to change the scenery. So decided to come over here and explore Asia, and it's been absolutely incredible. But in that process, so I'll backtrack and then bring it to crypto and how we got into Crypto Fight Club. In 2017, I was in Australia, and in between the transition to teaching, I and some friends were in the ICO boom was massive in the space and ruined a lot of people, and myself included. But we got into that and really got invested into cryptocurrency and what the technology was, and then there was so much hype behind these ICOs and stuff. We started a little group investing in these, some good, some not so good. Started dabbling in some trading and all that stuff, and I don't know if you guys have done much trading of cryptos and stocks and all that jazz. Definitely takes a toll on you mentally. So I kind of stepped back from crypto and then said, let's go back to the teaching thing. Moved to Bangkok, did that, and then I met Ashton here and his girlfriend, and then got introduced to this idea and jumped at the chance to get back into crypto, kind of in this new amazing wave that is happening in crypto right now. And then he told me about Crypto Fight Club, and it's been amazing ever since.
So
I have a question straight off the bat. Oh, sorry, Shauna.
Go right ahead.
What do you then think? Because there's a lot of people that have also been doing this transition of they were in crypto and now they're moving into NFTs. Yeah. What do you see as someone who was in crypto quite early? What do you see about that transition, how it's happened, and how you see that going forward?
So I think a lot of it is crap, to be totally honest. I think, and that's where I believe the Crypto Fight Club is great and will continue to be good and will be one of the premier NFT projects. Are they JPEGs to right click and save? I don't think that's necessarily true, but there's no intrinsic value in it. It's there's so much hype. People are inflating their own prices on the NFTs that they own. I think there's a lot of good that comes from it, as we spoke about beforehand, Shauna. I think it's great to see a resurgence in art. I think there's amazing art that's coming out of the cryptocurrency space. But sadly, I think 95% of all of these NFTs are going to go to zero in a few years, just like the ICOs did. That's my take on NFT 1.0s as they're kind of starting to be known. I think it's great that people are getting into crypto. I just think if you're playing the trading game with NFTs and you try to make some money on it and then invest in Bitcoin or whatever projects you believe in, I think it's fantastic for that. But I think a lot of people, sadly, are going to be left with JPEGs in their wallets that are worth nothing as soon as we go back into a bear market, which is coming up. It's not the most optimistic way to start.
I really like this kind of viewpoint, because this is one of the things that you can ask Shauna. I've been pouting on about the risks of NFTs for a long time, and the risks about these places, and the people that they have to look where they're investing, particularly in the NFT space, because if there's nothing actually backing the NFT, no form of fundamental, no form of usage, no form of actual real world ability to help both the creator and the user, there's no point. I completely agree with you. So I'm glad that you brought it up that way, because I think the speculation has been rampant. And while I think it's a great thing for art that the speculation has happened, because it's brought a focus back to artists again, which is something that hasn't been happening for a long time. It's kind of the quiet little stepchild that's kept in the corner and asked to make work every now and again. And out comes all this creative work, and other companies take it and off they go, and the little creators sit in the corner again. So it's fantastic that it's actually starting to bring some light to creatives. But I agree with you very, very much that the creatives actually have to think of ways that the NFTs are useful, not just JPEGs.
Totally. I think that hopefully the transition for the creator side of things is that this is, is it speculative? Yes, but it does give them, as we mentioned before, it gives them exposure. So hopefully post all of this NFT hype, I hope that artist has a little more exposure, has a little bit of shine. Their work is kind of on a pedestal more. But I think the only NFT collections that will hold any real value in the long term are the NFT collections that the rich own. You see, Eminem just bought his Bored Ape, CryptoPunks, all of these big ones, as they had historical significance. They will hold value. I think so, just because, I remember at the start of NFTs, because the concept of an NFT is fantastic. I think it's really cool to have this unique thing, this unique digital asset, I think is really cool. And the ones now that have historical significance will last and be worth something. But sadly, they're held by the hands of the 1% that have hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on the expensive collectibles. Sadly, it's a shame. But I think hopefully, and it is good that it's bringing light to these artists. But I feel for the little guy that's buying all these little things up, thinking they're going to be worth anything, when, similar to myself with a lot of ICOs I invested in stupidly, I would have been a lot better off if I just threw all of that in Ethereum or Bitcoin and never looked at it again.
So, it's interesting that Zach and Richard you mentioned this sort of idea about, thinking about the NFT project from the artist's point of view as a full range of thought, and that people are coming in maybe at midpoint or at end point looking to either invest or to gain from NFTs, and they may be very greatly disappointed or very greatly pleased. We don't know yet. The story is not over. But it's of interest to me more as we see increasing numbers of projects coming out about the design development phase of the project. And with Crypto Fight Club, I'm wondering if you can think back, Zach, to those very early days when you first met with Ashton, and he had this idea, this inception of an idea, and the two of you were going to go full steam ahead with it, and now you have a maturated project. Can you take us back to that very, very beginning phase of the design development, and how you made decisions about what it was going to look like, how it was going to function? Can you take us back to that?
Yeah, sure. So I know of the inception of the idea, and I was around to help develop it, but I can speak on where it came from and where it started. So there was There's a Muay Thai gym. Ashton participates in Muay Thai quite a lot. Me, not as much. I just like to lift things. There's a Muay Thai gym called Elite Fight Club here, and the owner, who's one of the founders of CFC, came to Ashton with the idea and said, NFTs are really cool. I want to do these NFT fighters. We'll have a little NFT of some Muay Thai local legend. We'll get an NFT made up of him and we'll sell them. And then Ashton, thinking very similarly to how I think, just thought, maybe there's something there, but this is speculative. And in a year, 2 years, however long, like Shona said, that story hasn't ended. But in however long, it'll likely just be a bust. So then I think they took that idea, himself and our CTO, Felix. They took that idea into, how can we change this? Change it and make it long lasting. I know a lot of the inspiration came from another project that's quite revolutionary in the space called Hex. Are you guys familiar with Hex at all?
Oh, no.
There's a character name, a very, very interesting, insightful, egotistical, but intelligent character in the space named Richard Hart. And he developed this token called Hex. And making a long story short, it's like a long-term deposit for crypto. So you stake your tokens, you lock them away, and then you get paid for delayed gratification in interest on your tokens, an APY. So I think being inspired by that, I think Ashton and Felix said, we can add this element into the NFT, and then on top of that, kind of the second part of NFTs blowing up. And I think some of the things that will last is these play to earn games. So thus we said, there's an amazing project with a founder who is, spreading good knowledge in Hex and Richard Hart. Let's do similar to what he's done, and let's bring it into the play to earn space because there's more utility. So let's take the idea of an NFT card for a fighter. Let's add on top of that there's a staking mechanism. And then let's give it even more utility and, develop a game around it. So that was kind of where the idea, I can speak on the design. So, it's kind of that pixelated Minecraft, Roblox kind of art style. As you can see on our website, on our fighters page, on our NFT page. It's timeless. If we tried to go the route of Unreal Engine and these really thought out, I don't want to say the word thought out, but really developed, detailed character models as graphical hardware develops. Eventually your cool thing that you spent a ridiculous amount of time on looks like crap because graphics have changed and blah blah blah. So we thought that this is kind of a timeless art style. It's quite quirky and cool, works in the gaming space because you can exaggerate certain movements and stuff and make it feel more fantastical. So that's where the idea came from. That's where the utility of the tokens of the fight token and the NFTs came from, and then also the art style. Does that kind of answer that one, I think?
Yeah. So, as you're going through your design development, then comes into play the functionality of the platform itself, right? And so let's say Richard was going to come in, and maybe Richard's an MMA fighter. He's an MMA advocate. He watches MMA on TV. But I come in and maybe I'm a karate person who likes more of the Asian influence and the old style fighting. How can the two of us participate in Crypto Fight Club? And what do we do while we're there? Tell us a little bit about the functionality.
Totally sure. So we'll qualify this question. So are you complete in this scenario? Obviously not in reality. Are you complete noobs to crypto? Like, do you want me to run you through step by step the process of how you would join it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. So in the model, you do. I guess there isn't in anything in crypto. There is a somewhat barrier of entry. You have to have a little bit of technical prowess. But if someone wanted to participate, you might open an account on Binance if you like centralized exchanges. You might transfer yourself and buy some BUSD. You would then install a MetaMask wallet, which is a good a good third-party wallet application. You would transfer your BUSD onto your MetaMask wallet, along with some BNB for gas, very little fees. You would go to our website. You would use your you would go to our website, go to PancakeSwap, trade your BUSD for Fight token. You would then go to our website, log in with your MetaMask. It's a lot more simple than it might sound. Go to our website, launch the app, use your Fight tokens to purchase an NFT, and then you can play the game. That's it. So with the minting of this for me, and obviously being a part of it, and I've got a stable of fighters myself. The coolest part, it's been great to be a part of the process. But when I was there, buying my own tokens, of course, I bought my tokens. I'm sitting there on the minting page, and I'm pressing, because it's a mystery box. There's 5,000 NFTs that are up for grabs in our first generation, and there's 100 different fighters that have different rarity. So we wanted to take on kind of the nostalgic and the awesome feeling of collecting cards. So we said, there'll be a mystery box. You'll pay 2,000 Fight tokens, and then you'll mint your NFT. So you're sitting there, and everything's all set up. You've got your MetaMask linked. You got your Fight ready. You click mint. The tokens are taken out of your account, and then you have to sit there just for a second, and it's minting, and you're like, oh, what am I going to get? Is it going to be, our best one, which is Big Bite? Or am I going to get Big Bite or Cash? Or am I going to get the Baron, who's kind of crap and his stats aren't very good? That side of it was really exciting. But so you get your NFT, you've got your little stable, your My Fighters list. You can spin your little NFT around. You can put him in a T-pose. You can watch his little actions. You can see his statistics. You can read about him on our Fighter Wiki. Then through the same application, you can launch the game and play and start to earn tokens. As far as the biggest thing, we're gonna have 3 elements to it. So there'll be PvE, PvP, and then mini games. So the mini games are relatively easy to develop, and we want to have something out as soon as we can for people to start playing and earning. So we're going to come out with a mini game. I know we had spoke about this before, Shorter. Chicken Run. So in Thailand, Muay Thai, what they would do up north for cardio is they run and they chase and they catch chickens, and that's their cardio exercise. So we said, okay, this is kind of cool. So let's take this and develop a mini game with leaderboards and multiplayer. And you'll be in there with your little NFT fighter on the web app, and you'll be running around chasing these chickens, catching them, and then based on the leaderboard, you'll then get tokens rewarded to you for that. So we're going to have mini games rolling out to keep people engaged and playing, and then PvP will be the next step, and that's super exciting. So that kind of, sorry, I tend to ramble, so that might have been a bit long, but I think hopefully that is.
No, you're absolutely doing great. We follow you. But I think it does stand to say that we follow you in part because we understand the landscape. And for those that do not, the barrier to entry is enormous. It's just a complete different language that you're speaking. And I know that probably all 3 of us on this panel right at the moment are looking forward to a day when that coin to wallet to platform transaction is much smoother and much simpler and much easier. But in the meantime, that doesn't go to mean that we can't have a blast if we just go through a little bit of pain in the onboarding process. So I know when we spoke before, you were sharing with me about this idea of profiles on the fighters that replicated or how can I say, mirrored maybe is a way to put it, real life people, real life fighters, people that have been in the martial arts, in the wrestling world. We talked about possibly in the future bringing in some world WWE fighters. And I know that Ashton was super interested in being able to let people have a relationship of some sort with these personalities. Can you share a little bit about that and what you envision for that kind of exchange?
So we've had a little bit of a pivot since our last conversation. So initially the fighters were inspired by different entities. And you may or may not see some similarities to people, but that is purely coincidental. Oh, we've ended up going the route, and I think that the plan still is in the future to have have a character in the game that has a name. It's in crypto and in blockchain, because we don't see, on the transaction of fight tokens for a fighter. It's not like they're not paying a centralized identity. We're not getting the tokens; that they're on the open market, right? So it's kind of hard to work a deal with individuals in which that we would have some sort of working relationship and sponsorship outside of sponsoring them with fiat money. It's kind of it's a weird game to play with that. In the future, we still want to go down that route and have a character in the game that has the name related. That is the plan. But we've taken a pivot, and our 100 NFT fighters that we have, they're characters. Again, you may or may not see similarities, but that's purely coincidental. But we do have all the fighter profiles. Actually, let me pull up. I'll read out one of the descriptions. I'll find one of the cool ones.
That's cool.
So we've got, this is Arachnid. So we've got the three different.
Are these male and female fighters, or are these just male fighters?
Yes. So when we had spoke, I think we only had one, and it was Mrs. Big Time. Now, yes, we've got male and female. Actually, I don't know what the breakdown is, but there is a substantial amount of female action happening. Oh, we go. I don't want to go through a count. There's a lot.
There's a substantial amount of females in esports, which is actually very surprising. And in esports that you wouldn't normally think, traditionally would be relatable. What I mean by that are things like NASCAR or horse racing or Crypto Fight Club. These are things, and we know of a developer, Steffi Bao, who's doing a fantastic project with motocross spike and Init Esports. So these are areas, huh, Richard? That we're just surprised.
But then the flip around is also funny, because then you get things like Axie Infinity. Right. Which absolutely, Axie Infinity and what's that done for the inner space is absolutely fantastic. But every now and again, I end up on YouTube and I end up searching Axie Infinities, and you see these 30 to 40-year-old men fighting with Pokemon, and it makes me smile every time I see it. These old-blown men fighting with Axie Infinity. I absolutely love it. It makes me. It's one of those little happy places I have.
Axie is absolutely incredible. I think Axie Infinity and Sandbox are far above and beyond everyone else in the play to earn space. I think they're absolutely fantastic.
Agreed. Yeah. Axie Infinity is, for me, it's the gold standard that's out there on play to earn at the moment. I think so. And one of the reasons that you can see that straight away is you look at who's backing them. Anyone that's in the space with the Horowitz and Andreessen behind them is going to go somewhere.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think as of late, they have had some issues. Because I think the one big downfall that I've seen with Axie is when they develop a patch and they change the meta. So, because you want these things to develop and change over time. But then, so if I'm playing, I play Dota. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dota. I dabble in that horrendously toxic game. But there'll be a patch will come out and the meta will change. So then maybe the hero that I play is now crap. The downside to that with a game like Axie Infinity, and maybe we'll run into the same issue in the future, is that then you have these things that people have paid for. I've spent money to develop my squad of Axies. They kick butt. I've spent, whatever the translation of cost and value would have been. I've spent, let's say, $1,000 on my team. You've released a patch, and now my team is crap. I think as this space changes, we'll see how everyone moves to deal with the ebbs and flows of these issues that come up. But that being said, Axie is absolutely incredible. A lot of inspiration from them. They're the same, similar card style gameplay that we're going to go for. But Axie's awesome, and everyone plays Axie.
They look at it. If you're looking at that card style play. And the kind of age bracket that end up watching this kind of stuff and getting involved in this kind of stuff, it's very much a lead from the base up. Let us be completely realistic here. I think there's more chance of us educating an 18-year-old than a 50-year-old.
Yeah, oh, for sure, 100%. Yeah.
So as these things kind of grow over time and the network effect over time, it's going to be an education base that is filled in from the bottom in age group and filters up. Now, what I'm interested to see is what happens when the people with the money who are up in the age group start looking down and start figuring out that they need to find systems that allow them to stake and have apprentice. For me, that is the thing that makes Axie what it is the pace that once you've got your Axie, you can let someone else use them and earn a passive income from it.
Yeah.
And that process that they've been able to work through, I think, is game changing.
Their scholarship program is fantastic. I know George, another one of the team, he does a lot of the Twitch stuff and works with the KOLs in that department. There's these big gaming guilds, and they'll have a couple of people at the top that spend, tens of thousands of dollars on scholarship programs for everyone. And it speaks to the whole, particularly in Southeast Asia, and we're finding out that the Spanish community is massive with play to earn. It's so cool to see programs, games like Axie, and programs like the scholarship program are enabling these people in Southeast Asia and Latin America. They're enabling the wages they make in comparison to what they could make if they supplement with playing Axie. It's incredible. It's such a cool wave, and it's, as you said, it's great to get the top down, get the trickle down effects with programs like the scholarship program. I think we want to aim to try and do something like that. But we'll see how that goes. I think there's ideas of development in the future for something like that, but the space is amazing.
It's incredible.
Exciting to be part of.
And I think that coming in from different aspects to this is great as well, because whilst like Axie is going to appeal to some people, it's not going to appeal to all of them, but having that same kind of functionality built into something that touches people's hearts in a different way, particularly sitting where you are in Southeast Asia, where maybe Pokemon wasn't what it is, but Muay Thai and so on have been part of that culture for an exceedingly long time. So building what you're building, where you're building it, is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely tend to agree, and we've found, even without aiming too much at Thailand, because it's not the central hub. It's similar to what you're saying. There's the leading demographics for crypto and where the money is. But then that trickles down. But we found, even without targeting Southeast Asia super heavy, we've had a lot of traffic organically from this area. So no, I think we're in a really good place. Our project is without sounding too much of an asshat, our project is really great, and we've got a lot of potential. We're also aiming Axie's kind of this cutesy, cool game, and then and as I know we mentioned before, Shauna, it's fighting, and there's more badassery in it. Yeah, more adrenaline. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very, very good. Yeah, more.
So my internal self can be a little bit more appeased rather than watching old men play with Pokemon.
Yes, exactly. Get out that man anger.
Richard actually is in real life a martial arts enthusiast, so he would absolutely love Crypto Fight Club. But so tell us a little bit about the fun of it. What do we do when we're there? I think you were going to share a profile with us, and we got a little bit sidelined in our conversation.
Can I screen share? Is that going to work?
Let's see if we can let you do that. I don't know. Might be too much for our.
I know I can share from mine, but I'm the host.
Do you want me to? It's giving me the option. Do you want me to click share?
Push it.
Push it.
Make sure.
Push it. Let's experiment. Let's play.
Oh, let me make sure I've got nothing up on this screen that I don't necessarily want to be shown.
Says every man on the planet.
I just want to blur the top part of my screen. So I'll share. Is this working? You're in the show.
Oh wait, there we go. Yes, I can pick it on. There we go.
Oh, fantastic! Wow, that's really cool.
So,
that was easier than expected.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, actually, so I guess while we're here, we can touch. Oh, it's even got me on the side. That's fantastic. If back to take a couple of steps back. So if you have your MetaMask linked to mint your fighter and start playing, all you do is click launch app up in the corner, And then you go through the cool process of actually minting your fighter, which is fantastic. But so here's our profile. So Shauna, you'll see many very big female representation this time. That was the plan initially, but you hit us early when we had our meeting in the past. You really hit home that, and we were like, oh my gosh, like of course we need to step this up and get a lot more in. So yeah, you got our list of 100 fighters. The blue represents, is it blue MMA? Yeah, blue is MMA, red is boxing, and blue is Muay Thai, red is boxing, green is MMA. So you'll see all these different fighter profiles. Who's a cool one that we can click on that I remember has a cool thing? So we've got the Gaelic Prince.
Yeah, if not, why not?
Good.
He's got a lovely beard.
Yeah, he's fantastic. They're so cute. I mean, again, it does appeal to the cute. I mean, they're cute as well. You can't, you give someone a big pixelated blockhead, they're going to be a little bit cute, even if they're
my old Lego fetish is suddenly tickled.
Yeah. The page might be slightly warped because I've got a long monitor, but yeah, so you got the Gaelic Prince. So the cool part of this and the exciting part where Pokemon and stuff comes into it. So of the 5,000 NFTs that can be minted in our first generation, there's only 25 of this guy. So he's pretty rare. He's quite cool. So you got the Gaelic Prince, one of 25. Some of these are quite interesting. So
and what does he go? I'm sorry, Zach. What does he go for roughly?
So you spend 2,000 fight to mint your NFT, but it's a mystery box, so you don't know what you're going to get.
You don't know what you're getting. You mentioned that. I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's no, you're fine. You're fine. It's hard to say what the resale price is. I can actually pull up. Some of them are being sold now. We haven't minted. We've still got quite a few available, so it's kind of silly to sell the NFTs at the moment. But yeah, it would be hard to say. I think based on some of the prices I've seen, current market value, he'd be one of 25. I'd say at least one BNB, which is like $540. But again, I think it would be absolutely silly to sell any of these. If I had this guy, I would sell.
Do you have any analytics on what the resale market's looking like?
I can pull up. So we've got two. So there is the Venly marketplace, and then we've got another marketplace, which is Tofu NFT. These guys aren't a partner, but they're decentralized.
I love all of this. Thank you for showing us.
Oh, you're totally fine. I'm happy that I can share my screen. So let's see. So
we've got like box.
Yeah, I think the boxes. We really want to get out the box, like the whole boxes and unboxing. That's for me. Like I cannot. I literally felt like a kid playing Pokemon again. I minted one. Oh, I want another one. I waited. I transferred some funds around. I got another one. I did a recording of my reaction to it. I just immediately wanted another one. It's very cool. So we've got Night Terror, who I think he's one of 25, and he's selling for 6 BNB. I think BNB is roughly $500. So call it $3,000. We'll see if these things will actually sell. I don't think for now anyone should be selling them, but it is really cool to see them up here.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch up. People, there's no limit to how many you can get as well. So I know a guy that bought 33. He bought 33 of them, which is pretty cool. So I'll read his little descriptions. Yeah. So you'll find the fat and white Gaelic in a Lamborghini and wearing a Batman costume. He's the champion, but feels he'll always be a bum in the eyes of others. So they've got kind of a quirky, cool backstory. So then you got his little box that you can play with. His the T-pose looks quite hilarious. So they have different stats, which then will play into the cards that we have in the game.
Now, can I enhance him? Can I enhance him as I go along?
Yes. So these are we're built on the Binance Smart Chain. These are BEP 720 tokens. Okay. You will be able to equip your fighter with BEP 1155 tokens equipment. I guess you can call them tokens. And I think there's 6. I think the plan is 6 different pieces of gear that you equip your fighter with, and you increase his stats. So it's not just so you can come up against the Gaelic Prince as your NFT that maybe doesn't have as good as stats, but maybe your equipables are better, and you play the game a little differently, and you're strategic with your card placement, so you can come out the winner even though he's a better NFT. There's got to be that element of it. So.
Yeah, you have to be able to beat bigger MFTs, otherwise what's the point?
Yeah, 100%. If it was just this guy beats this guy, this guy beats this guy, it's
it loses its fun.
100%. And then
and do we
who's
have?
one of?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do we have a master leaderboard?
Yes. So that'll be the plan. So actually, I'll stop. How can I stop screen
These are
share?
adorable names. Lion Boy.
No, I
They're
can.
adorable.
There we go.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, they've got really cute names. My guys, I like we've got Mr. Handsome, which is quite a cool name. Like Mr. Perfect, Mr. Marvelous, Mrs. Big Time. Yeah, they're really cool. I cannot, again, I said it multiple times, the feeling that you get unboxing is actually awesome. Obviously, I work for the company. Maybe I'm a little biased, but it's awesome. But yeah, so leaderboards. Yeah, there will be leaderboards. And then we plan on doing tournaments and having some sort of system on board with sponsoring teams. We're still working the details of that. Sponsoring fighters, sorry. Still working the details of a lot of things like that. But yes, there will be leaderboards. The PvP is the most exciting thing for me. The mini games that we're going to release first, I think we'll have the first one coming out. The date is planned internally. We're going to announce it in the next couple days when Chicken Run, which will be the first game that you can play, that will be coming out. And then I think the plan is, because mini games aren't too difficult to develop depending on the game, we're going to be releasing those every 3 weeks up until PvP comes out. PvP, obviously.
So what are your sorry to stop you here. When you're talking PvP, can you please expand on what your plan is for that? Because I think you are completely right. That's where I see all the fun. That's where I see stadiums full of people and desks up the front playing, and it's up on big screens like they've done for World of Warcraft tournaments and all of that. I see that happening for these NFT projects. So having something like yours, it's so close to be able to go there in a ring in front of everyone, big screens around them, they're battling.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that's, people keep asking about that in our chat. And for me, that's the most fun part. There will also be PvE, which is a player versus environment. Go to a gym, punch a bag, beat up an NPC in the gym. And there's benefits to all that stuff. All of this will pay you back in either juice or fight tokens. I believe it's going to be juice. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, PvP, cream of the crop. That's where it all happens. The simplest way to put it is it will be similar to Axie Infinity in that you will have attack cards, defense cards, and then technique cards, which will, skip a move, but your next move, your punch or your attack card will be multiplied and so on. I can't speak on, as we spoke about before, I can't speak on the in-depth stuff of the cards. I'm not involved in that process. I'm not smart enough to work on the game theory there. But I have a hard enough time with. Yeah, I'll give myself credit. I'm relatively intelligent, but the technical, as we mentioned with Axie, like these things have to be balanced as much as they can. There has to be an element of RNG in a card-based turn-based card game. But balancing these things is a very fine art. I think I know our initial. I saw the initial list of cards that we were going to have, and I went through them with another team member, and it was like these just won't you get this card, you win the game. But so it's been tuned since then. I know that for sure. But yeah, turn-based game, a lot of strategy involved in it. All the fighters have their unique animations, and those will link up with the certain cards that you get. Turn-based card game. I'm trying to think, how much more can I speak about that I know about?
Well, let me actually go in a different direction if I could, if you'd allow me to do that, which is in this area of balance. So let's say I get addicted to Crypto Fight Club, which would be very easy to do. And I'm up against Zach at one moment and I knock him out and I get some points and I'm feeling pretty strong. And then I go up against Richard and I have a little bit of tough time, but I dominate him too. And, I win that and things are going along pretty good. But then my luck changes and I start to lose and I lose fight after fight after fight. 2 questions I have for you. How are we addressing, especially for children who might be playing on Crypto Fight Club, how are we addressing this sense of what one does when they don't achieve their goals, or when they lose, or when they can't get as far as they want to get in their Axie Infinity? How are we addressing that? And then the second question is, since my testosterone and my adrenaline is all pumped up because I've been fighting all night long, how are we addressing that I close my computer down and I go out into the streets, and now I think that fighting is the only way I can ever accomplish any of my goals. If I just beat people up every now and then, whether it's in the street or in the opera or wherever it may be. Can you talk a little bit about the greater humanitarian view of the game and whether or not you've considered those elements as they come into play when we're talking about, not only fun and esports, but also the money aspect of it?
Yeah, so there will be a limit on the amount of times you can earn. So I think similar to, again, I don't know the in-depth details on this, but I know there will be a limit. So you can't sit in front of as much fun and maybe as monetarily advantageous as it might be to sit in front of the computer the whole day and play Crypto Fight Club. There is a limit to how much you can do. Otherwise, the ecosystem goes to poop. So you can have X, I don't know what the number is again, X amount of PvP games. Either you win or lose and you get rewarded. But then after you hit your quota for the day, then you take a step back. I think it's really important to not push. I agree with yourself. Technology is amazing. All of this stuff is fun, but people need to get outside and enjoy their lives a little more than they do at the moment. I think it's what life's about, not sitting in front of the computer. But yeah, so to answer that point, there is a limit on the amount that you can play and earn. I mean, in theory, I guess you could sit in front and keep getting your butt whooped and kind of not win or not lose, in terms of tokens, that is, like maybe lose a fight. I guess in theory, you could probably do that, but that'll be up to the person. It's for me and taking the humanitarian approach. It's finding and touching on the losing thing. It's finding a balance, because I think in general, people have to deal with, the kid that plays this game and loses. I think they kind of have to deal with loss as well. I think that's part of life. And I think holding someone's hand too much, it's good to nurture and take care of. Holding someone's hand too much in this sense and in all realms kind of holds people back a little bit much. So I don't know how much that will be. I can say that we are going to have a ranking system. So if someone is on a losing streak, they're not going to keep getting matched up with Richard, who's got big bite and he's got all the equipables and he's whooping everyone's butt. I won't come across Richard. You won't come across Richard. He'll be versing the big dogs in the scene and so on. So to answer the question on losing too much, there'll be a ranking system. So hopefully you don't keep losing, although I assume someone's going to be at the very bottom of the ranking system and maybe have a hard time for a long time, sadly.
That's normally me.
Maybe people will take pity on that person, give them little helps and tidbits.
Then they can maybe earn tokens through sponsoring a fighter like yourself, Sean. Maybe you're the top dog in the tournament, and me and Richard are horrible, and we sponsor you to do well and earn tokens through your successful fights. But yeah, hopefully that gives a decent answer to that one.
There's a fun thing here that I think is great with these play to earn games, of not just what it's teaching kids that they can earn while they're actually doing something they're enjoying.
Yeah.
But if you start looking at what is the basis that we're trying to teach here, there's a certain amount of trade, there's a certain amount of equity, there's a certain amount of financial interest, there's a certain amount of just financial awareness that comes from being in a game where you go, oh, I might lose money. Yeah, there's that little bit extra bit of experiential learning that we're able to transfer over onto the youth. So I think Shauna, I love what you bring up about the timing online on this kind of stuff, because I think it's vital that it's tapered. We can't let kids disappear off into the black hole.
No.
None of us want that.
Yeah, I asked the question partially because earlier today I have a 14-year-old son, and he watches a YouTuber who is credited with owning several of the board's apes. And so as a result of his crypto success, what he does as part of his daily YouTube stream is he plays gambling games, and he wins and loses these gambling arcade games at a rate that you would not believe. I'm talking like I'm up 60,000 in 1 second and I'm down 250 in the next second. And
Yeah.
there's almost a sense of the money doesn't mean anything anymore because it's not a real, tangible fiat thing. It's an
Yeah.
electronic thing. And
Yeah.
I've already got my bank back in the Bored Apes. So what do I care about anything else that exists in life? And I think
Yeah.
that's super important that to the extent that we can, and I know it stems far out of the esports or gaming fun of Crypto Fight Club, but to the extent that we can, if we can include those educational elements of what is loss like, how do you accept defeat, what's the difference between what I'm doing online versus the real world, how I might interact with Richard when I pummel him because we had a fight today versus how I'm going to interact with Richard when I see him in the real world and he's a real person with real problems and real challenges. So those kind of things, I would love to see, again, to the extent that you can, some of that infusion into
Totally.
a platform which really has great potential.
Yeah, I think there's a few things to point out with that. I totally agree, and there needs to be education. I know that as Crypto Fight Club, we want to take. Speaking on, I spoke on Richard Hart before. He's very educational in the stuff he does. We really want to take from his lead because a lot of us in the team look up to the way he does things. But yeah, there needs to be education around this stuff. This can have monetary impact, not to the extent of buying a Bored Ape NFT or the gambling streams. Really quick, I'll touch on that. I think YouTube and Twitch, which is where you see all these gambling streams happening, they need to crack down on that because they're cryptocurrency sites. They're getting paid to do that. The gambling streams and the YouTubers doing that gambling stuff need to get kicked off the platform, in my opinion, because the audiences are so young. That's a whole nother corrupt. I've watched a lot of information on that topic in the YouTube and Twitch space, and it's absolutely horrendous. But yeah, I know as a community, we really do want to take the educational route and start teaching people not only the pros and cons of certain things in the cryptocurrency space, because it is unregulated and there is a lot of crap stuff. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I've lost a lot trusting the wrong people and listening to the wrong messages. We really want to take that route of educating people as much as we can. I think a small thing that is built into it is, and I touched on it before, is the idea of delayed gratification. So you stake fight within your fighter. You don't touch the fight. You lock it up for a year. You don't touch the fighter, and you get paid for that. You get paid for that delayed gratification in the form of your APY. Teaching little things like this. So educating the ins and outs of cryptocurrency, the platform, teaching habits as much as we can in forms like delayed gratification. I think
you've picked one of the biggest one right there. I mean, teaching people at an early age the vital importance of delayed gratification is it's beyond valuable, because without it, I mean, you think we're living in such an instant world at the moment. Instant communication, instant, as soon as a notification gone, I need to be answering that. Yeah. Teaching people and putting value back in delaying that gratification and delaying that communication as part of a game, I think is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it pays dividends in every avenue of life. I think everyone wants results now and they don't get them right away, so they feel like a failure and they hate themselves. As much as we can in a game, in the communities, we can do our best to kind of get on the specifics of this stuff as much as we can. But yeah, the game has that built in the ways that we can in a game, and then having the limit on daily fights that you can do and activities you can participate in that are still advantageous. I think we're doing our best to tick all the boxes that we can, but we definitely want to take the angle of educating in the communities that we're a part of and in the social media posts that we do. And yeah, I think I totally agree, Sean, with everything you're saying. I think it's very important, and we're trying to build that stuff in as much as we can, without becoming a self-help game sort of thing. There's a fine line, particularly with crypto, because everyone's in the hive mind, and you want to go against it, but you don't want to baby people. It's like a weird kind of balance.
Yeah, what's it? I think it was Bill Gates or Warren Buffett said the way to make a lot of money is spot where the world is going to go and get there first.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Yeah, but it's exciting times. We've got a great platform here, as I mentioned before, and I'm proud of the game that we're building. I'm proud of what it stands for. I'm proud of the team that we have, and there's so much potential. And I think off the back of this NFT wave, and hopefully the sad realization that is going to come from a lot of these NFTs, I think we're in a position to launch. I think this is going to be a great game, and as we've touched on briefly as well, the impact that these games can have on your day-to-day life from the fight tokens that you would gain is also amazing. It's just great to be a part of.
So I want to take just a few minutes to go to your skill strength, Zach, and that is in the area. You've done such a beautiful job, especially tonight, of outlining Crypto Fight Club to us. And previously, when I spoke to you, I was very impressed too with how you communicate ideas and how you really are interested in a community building experience here. So I want to just shift the conversation a little bit to the marketing and the branding and the selling, particularly as esports is gaining so much rapidity, and there is a little bit of degree of volatility within esports, and there's also this to me anyway, an overriding sense of, the sky's the limit and we can put any dog races, horse races, frog races, chicken races. I mean, we can do anything we want. So I'm curious as to the area of competition. And you have the benefit of being early, and you have the benefit of a developed and mature platform. And I know that you'll continue to grow that. But share with Richard and I, if you can, a little bit about how you, on a day-to-day basis, are spreading the word, sharing the news. What are you doing on the marketing and the branding end so that you can get that foothold to be able to continue to grow and scale throughout the years?
Totally, yeah. So we've had quite a few pivots in the this project. While I'm proud of the progress we've made, it's still as you mentioned, it's very early days. We've been moving very quick. So we had a rough marketing strategy in at the beginning, but then we've kind of been letting the leaps and the growth in community, and the growth in community has been fantastic. We're up to 35,000 on Twitter, and we only started publishing on the Twitter a couple months ago, before the NFT launch, before the news about the token launch, just in conception. So things have been growing very quickly, which is great, but we've been kind of running off of the next event that's happening. So it was, we're a game starter game. Okay, the game starter, excuse me, the game starter community that's helped us develop the game. Their community came over. We grew from there. We kind of nourished that community as much as we can. And then NFT launch. Okay, get news about the NFT launch as much as we can, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now the mini game. So we've kind of just been running off of these news events that have been going on. Now the focus, as I mentioned before, is we want to educate. So we want to get pieces out that touch on what I did at the start. So speaking on NFTs and kind of this hype behind NFTs and how it's exciting right now, similar to the ICO boom was so exciting for me. And now that I'm left with pennies on the dollar compared to what I would have had, maybe it's not so exciting. If I had someone to educate me there in those times and the pros and cons of certain things, so as a company and as the people in our ecosystem, we want to have them be figureheads to teach and educate, and then kind of we're solving problems in the crypto space. We want that to be known. So I know a big push in the marketing is going to be education. So we'll have articles going out from different team members of us. We've got a group of community managers that are going to come along and like hone our message there. We're reaching out, as we've learned, different demographics are very popular with this space. We've got key opinion leaders doing unboxing and stuff. As I've mentioned, that's super exciting. To all encompassing. So we've got the key opinion leaders and influencers that are going to focus on the NFT side of things and the feeling that you get from that and building that there. We're going to hone our image as a platform that answers answers problems that there are in cryptocurrency. And we want to set our team members up as the figurehead of those problems, solutions to those problems. Sorry. So yeah, the approach, we're changing our approach again, but we're taking different routes. Excuse me, taking different routes in the key opinion leaders and the article pieces that we publish, alongside setting ourselves up as the problem to as the answers to the problem. Oh my gosh, I've been talking too much, that are out there. Hopefully that answers. I rambled a bit. I've been talking a lot, but
Yeah,
hopefully that gives
you need a drink of water. What do you think about that? What do you think about that, Richard?
The marketing process of these things is dependent on one thing and one thing only, and that is community. And you are nourishing it and working it forward. I mean, for me, a lot of these things that we're talking about is what is the idea of these tokens, and the degree that they are owning one of these NFTs is almost like a membership fee to a club.
Yeah,
So where the value of the NFT then becomes a representation of the strength of the community. And as the community grows, thereby the strength of the NFT grows. So from my side, all I can say is, well done.
Yeah,
Spot on, dude.
not only
Spot
the
on.
community, but the ability to retain the person through the aging process. So it's not enough to gain them into the community, but to be able to develop activities that are going to keep them engaged and attached and identifying with this club, whether they're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80.
So I'm looking forward to seeing, when I go through the Metaverse News Network, I'm looking forward to seeing little fighters in people's icons like Bored Apes.
Yeah.
I want to see that in the logos.
We've got the team. We've been lucky enough to get our own little. We all kind of aimed. We said, "Oh, can we get one of the NFT launches? Can we have our own fighters? Because we've been pixelized." And it's like, "Oh, please." But yeah, I think you touched on something important there. And we had a marketing meeting last night, and someone pointed out it's Crypto Fight Club. Let's make this feel like a club, as you said, Richard, a club that you can be a part of and that you feel proud to be in. So we really do want to hone in on that, and getting the community involved in the process as well. So we've got our first mini game coming out. We've got some ideas for other mini games, but we want to ask community members, and reward them for their ideas. So if someone, hey guys, what do you think about this? We're going to give you a portal to fill in information on what do you want to see as a mini game? What do you think is a cool idea? And if we pick yours, or we thank you regardless for your input. If we pick yours, then we either get you involved in the process, or give you some fight tokens, or whatever. We want to reward the activity and get them involved as much as we can. It's a club.
Community engagement is not just fun; it's profitable.
Yeah, 100% for all parties involved. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's even one of those ones that's profitable on the social side, because not only is it profitable on the financial side, but everyone learning, and not just learning as an individual, learning in a group is so much more valuable. Yeah. So as people come in and learn together, that process of enabling that going forward is just going to allow the people who get involved to take the education that they've learned on your platform and reapply it.
Yeah, 100%.
And with that make money. And for
totally.
me, that's the best thing about this, is we're enabling younger people to go and find ways to make money and not have to break into a current system.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And to generate that out of a club, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's exciting times ahead. I've said it a bunch of times. Super fun to be a part of. Great to meet people in the ecosystem. You guys are fantastic. It's cool to meet and collaborate, communicate with you guys. It's cool to see people in the community kind of take a big brother role, and someone new comes in and they kind of teach them about the game. And it's working. This is what it's all about. Yeah,
it's so strange, because you get the same feeling when you walk into a gym. Like when I walk into my BJJ, my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's that instant camaraderie. There's that instant connection. There's that instant way of thinking that's the same language. It's the same people that are giving you that knowledge. And I think that what you've wrapped up in the whole package of this is just, it touches so many of the correct nerves that fantastic.
I mean, and isn't that the best part about, the Rocky movies? When you have the old guard boxing club owner who's going to take in the young scrappy guy off the street and make him into something. I think that's one of the best parts about those movies, that sort of
But
shepherding and
it's not just that though, Sean. I think it's what you and I were speaking. Shauna and I were speaking a couple of weeks ago about what galleries used to be for artists.
Mm-hmm.
That galleries used to mentor and take and help artists move forward and take ownership of artists and help them move forward. And that's kind of disappeared into the capitalistic system.
Mm-hmm.
So now seeing games and so on, like what you're doing, actually start to flip that background again. It's fantastic. It's one of the things that I am most passionate about with watching the growth of useful NFTs.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. I think, and there's so much, again, it's about honing the message, because there's so much crap out there and people don't realize it. People don't realize what are the good eggs and what are the bad eggs, and the good actors. And it's honing that message, making the community to educate and just get excited when you're around people like yourselves, like myself, like the team that are passionate. We love this space. We love what cryptocurrency represents. It's, the power of the people, take away from the big entities, blah, blah, blah. It's such an exciting space, and it's great to try as best we can, educate people, get the community vibe, get the club. I love it.
Sounds so exciting. Will you keep us posted on your announcements and let us know how Crypto Fight Club is developing, and then let us know periodically who you like that's up on the leaderboard and who you like that maybe is down in the bottom of the leaderboard. We'll bring them on and we'll figure out what's wrong with them and try to help them out. But we wish you the
Come and
very
visit
best.
me at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Me too. We wish you the best, Zach. We want to thank you for your time tonight. You've been very gracious, and also our best wishes to Ashton, that he has a quick recovery. And just know that our door's open, and we're looking forward to having more of these types of discussions, particularly as they relate to esports and developing platforms and gaming. And what's so perfect about this model is you really have thought through the various applications that you can put in it and how you can get people to engage. So thank you so much for your time tonight, and for all those joining us and listening. We will be back next Wednesday night. Richard, who do we have next Wednesday night?
I am not sure.
Okay,
I am blonde, and I am going to keep that is my excuse, and I'm going to leave it at that.
So we will definitely make an announcement there as well. And Zach, we wish you a very happy New Year and all the success for Crypto Fight Club that is possible. And thank you for joining us from so far overseas. I know it must be a late hour for you.
No, 10. It's actually perfect time.
Early
10
hour.
a.m.
Early hour.
I'm fine. This is the beginning of the day. I'm all good. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to dive into kind of the macro look on NFTs and crypto and life. No, I really enjoy this. We'll come back on when the PvP's launch and we can talk more about everything.
Yes, please. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much, Zach.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Take good care. Take good care.
Bye.